Hey guys, this is Miss Owens. It's good to be talking to you. I hope that you're all doing well. Today we're going to talk about something that we have not done before. It's called the passive voice. What I expect you to have done will be this document, which is also in the classroom stream. A little bit of information here about the passive voice starts it off. What I expect to see from you are some examples of the passive. I'll explain that in just a bit here. The notes that I'm about to give you, both for the present and imperfect. And then finally, a little bit of practice of matching up these forms to their meanings. So that document you'll turn back into me, and that'll be your points for today. All right, let's get into it. So, passive voice, this has to do with verbs. Both English and Latin use active and passive voices. So far in our verbs, as we've discussed them, we know these terms. We know person and number. When I say person and number, I'm referring to who the subject is. Every verb has this. And the endings that you know best are OST, mus, tis, and t that I've written here at the bottom. I've got an example of a third person singular verb, clamat. You see that T ending. You can find it in your little chart here at the bottom of the screen where third meets singular. That's that T ending. And it means he, she, or it. The NT ending is the third person plural. And again, using that chart at the bottom, you can see where third and plural match up. You'll see NT, and that means they. So person refers to who it is, and number refers to singular or plural. We also, in our verbs, know tense, and we know 6 of them. There are ending clues to tell you which tense is which, and I have 3 of them exampled here. I've got clamat, just that plain old AT is the present tense. Clamabat, BA, back in the day, we know BA very well. That's the imperfect. It means was or were, ing. And I also included the IT ending here. Remember, E isti it, emus istis erant. That was from way back in the fall. That is the perfect tense. So there are 6 tenses in Latin: present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. And we have learned them all to this point. Go back and find your notes if you can't figure out how to do those earlier tenses. They don't go away. So today we are practicing something a little bit different. It's called voice. It is just another quality that all verbs have in Latin and in English, and there are 2 of them: active or passive. All right, so getting into it. An active voice sentence is the traditional style of sentence that we have seen thus far. It's the kind we're most familiar with in English as well. Here's an example. The boy kicks the ball. The boy kicks the ball. The boy is the subject. Kicks is what he's doing. It's the verb. And the ball is what we call the direct object. So if you're going to make this sentence passive, you would rearrange which word comes first. In English, we like the subject to come first. So if I switch this around a little bit, 180 degrees different, it's still, everything is exactly the same, right? Everything that was happening in the first sentence is still happening in the second sentence. But here I'm going to start with the direct object. I'm going to say, the ball was kicked by the boy. Same action, same everything, only we have flipped it around. This is the passive voice. The subject has the verb being done to it instead of the subject doing the verb. Let's see some more examples. What if I say, the senator was setting the fire? Ooh, violent. All right. If I turn that around, I'm going to start with the thing that was previously the direct object, which here is the fire. If I say this in passive voice, I want everything to stay the same. I'm going to say, the fire was being set by the senator. So the same action is taking place, only what was previously the direct object gets moved to that first position, the subject position. The verb is happening to the subject. All right. These are my examples that I would like you to try out. These are on your paper. Everybody does have these same 2 examples. And the first one I'm going to do with you, and the second one I want to see what you come up with, okay? So coming back to our Atalanta story, we're going to have this active voice sentence. The hero threw the apple. The hero is the subject. Threw is his action. It's the verb. And the apple here is the direct object. Now let's flip it around. I want to make this sentence passive. Think for a second. Got a hint here. My hint is that if you start with the words that were the previous direct object, here, the words the apple, that's going to get you on the right path. What'd you write? Did you write the apple was thrown by the hero? That's what it should say. I'm going to let you try this one for yourself, and I'll check your answers. But the active voice sentence here says, the thief stole my gym clothes. The thief, here in the active voice sentence, is the subject. Stole is our past tense verb. And my gym clothes are the direct object. Again, your hint is start with what used to be the direct object, my gym clothes. See if you can finish it. So you are on your way to making some passive voice sentences in English. A quick and easy guide to make something passive in English is to use these words: be, being, or been. Be, being, or been. So examples. I want to be made the prom queen, something like that. She was being made the prom queen. She has been made the prom queen. Lots of prom thoughts here. But you hear be, being, or been. In each of those sentences, the subject is having the verb here, being made something, being having something done to them. They're all using forms of be, being, or been. In Latin, we're also going to make an adjustment to the sentence, but our major adjustment will be to that singular verb form that we would in Latin see ending with ost mustis enti. It's just a slight tweak to that ending. All right. Excuse me. So your notes. You have these notes, right? This is exactly what I want you to be working with. You can have two windows open. And I want to make sure that you hold on to these notes because they're going to be really useful. From here on out, we're going to be practicing the passive as much as possible. So the first one we want to talk about is the present tense. Present tense. That's the ending set that I had on the first or second slide, ost mustis enti. And we've taken notes on these before as well. In the passive voice, they have the same formula for creating them that they have for the active voice. You find your stem, you add the correct vowel according to the conjugation, and then you add the ending to show who the person is. So we've also got our vowels. First conjugation uses A, second uses E, third IO, and fourth all use I for most of their forms. But you can see that we also use a U when we're talking about the third person plural, the they form. Okay? Make sure you got those down on your notes. Remember, you can always pause this or go back if you need to. The present tense passive endings. You might recall us actually talking about this a little bit and me writing this on the board when we were practicing for our National Latin exam. But here they are for you to take notes on. Ar, ris, ter, mer, mini, intur. Those are your endings. And they're written 3 and 3, just like on that first slide where we had ost, mustis, enti, because they have the same meanings. I, you, he, she, it, we, y'all, they. Exactly in the same order. First person, second person, third person, singular and plural, written the same way. All right. The present tense passive translation, there at the bottom, you take your subject and you need to change the word to be in some kind of form. This is an English thing, something that you as a native speaker will be able to understand. I would, for instance, say, I am being blanked, but you are being blanked. There's a slight difference there. It's really the same idea. It's just an irregular word in English. He, she, or it is being blanked, right? Depends on what the subject is. Read it out loud to yourself. You'll get it right. All right, let's look at an example. I've picked the word here, clamo, clamare, clamavi, clamatus. It means to shout. This is a first conjugation verb. I know this because the second principal part, clamare, ends in are. To get the stem for this word, I will go to that are form and I will remove the last 3 letters, here symbolized with question mark re, because they could be different, right? So to get my stem, I'm going to take off those last 3 letters. What do I come up with? You got it, clam, C-L-A-M, right? That is our stem that we're going to add things to. All right. Same thing. We've got clamo, clamare, clamavi, clamatus. We know that CLAM is our stem. Now we want to add our vowel. As we said, it was first conjugation. You can look back at your notes. Maybe think about it for a second here. The same vowel you would use for the active voice. Those vowels really don't change, only the endings do. And that vowel is an A. So as we build it up, clama is how it starts. CLAM is your stem, A is your vowel. And then finally, we want to add our ending. We want to go to that ending set. R, ris, ter, mer, mini, inter, right? And I'm going to just pick the third person singular, and I'm going to form it clamatur. We see all three parts there, stem plus vowel plus ending. The translation for this would be, it is being shouted. You can imagine a sentence where there have been lots of protests in the news, right? The slogan is being shouted by all of the protesters, something like that, right? Okay, here is another example. This is also the present tense, and this is a second conjugation verb. I know that. Here it is at the bottom. I know that it's second conjugation because the second principal part ends in long ERE. That's second conjugation for you. This word means to move, and here is the verb fully conjugated in the passive voice. Mo way or, I am being moved. Mo way ris, you are being moved. Mo way tour, he, she, or it is being moved. Mo way mer, we are being moved. Mo way mini, y'all are being moved. Mo win tour, they are being moved. You can see this is exactly the same way we would conjugate a verb in the active voice. We're just changing the endings. Instead of O, S, T, mus, tis, int, we've got a new set. It's R, ris, ter, mer, mini, inter. Not too bad. All right, back to your notes page. We're going to now look at the passive voice, imperfect tense. Make sure you're finding that correct heading and writing us in the right place. And if you were on top of this for the present tense, you're going to notice it's really very much similar to what you see for the active voice. The notes you might already have are going to be really helpful. The only thing changing is the ending, which means, once again, your formula, you know it, you love it. Stem plus vowel plus ending. Stem plus vowel plus ending. So that's going from the second principal part, taking off the last three letters, adding one of the vowels you see here, according to its conjugation, and then the ending to represent who the verb is happening to, right? So our vowels for the different conjugations. There's no change between different persons and numbers here. It's really straightforward. The imperfect tense is nice like that. It's A, E, E, I, E, I, E. You should write those down. Remember, you can always go back. Great. Okay, the imperfect tense. Now, if you look closely for sharp-eyed readers here, you're going to see that the endings are actually still the same as they were for the present tense. The very end, right? R, ris, ter, mer, mini, inter. The adjustment here is that in front of those letters, we've got the thing that makes something imperfect. BA, back in the day. BA makes a verb imperfect, so that's going to go right before the ending. BAR, bar, baris, batur, bamur, ba mini, bantur. Those endings, again, correspond to the same set that we're used to. I, you, he, she, it, we, y'all, they. And the translation for the imperfect passive, again, we're going to get was or were ing. We're used to that, right? That's BA back in the day. So you're going to have the correct person and number, so you know what your subject is. And let's go ahead and say he, she, or it. He, she, or it was or were being blanked. So he was being thrown. He was being elected. You know, lots of different possibilities there. So hopefully that starts to click a little bit. That be, being, or been makes something passive. It's happening to the subject. All right, let's look at an example. Audio, audire, audivi, auditus means to hear. You want to take a second here and think for yourself and try to figure out which conjugation is that. Is that first, second, third IO, or fourth? This one's fourth. Hopefully you got that right. And no matter which conjugation it is, we always get the stem in the same way. That's pretty nice. Consistent. We take off the last three letters from the infinitive. So you're going to see your stem here is A-U-D. If you go back to your notes or potentially just go to an earlier slide, you will see that the vowel for fourth conjugation is I-E. We're doing the imperfect here, right? And then our endings. Our endings are going to be those endings you just saw. Bar, baris, batur, ba-more, ba-many, bantur. And let's go ahead and pick the third person singular again. It's the one we see most often. So audiatur. That's that third person singular. He, she, or it was being heard. Okay, it's just, it's like Lego. That's how I like to think of it, right? You take the first piece, another piece that connects it, snaps on, that's your vowel, and then your ending piece, right? They go in a very clear order to create the thing that you want to make. All right, here are all of the forms of audio, audiere in the imperfect passive. Audie bar, audie baris, audie batur, audie bamur, audie babini, audie bantur. These say, I was being heard, you were being heard, he, she, it was being heard, we were being heard, y'all were being heard, they were being heard. All right. So that is all of the notes that I wanted to give you for this. I hope that you caught them, that you were able to write them down, and that you were also starting to form any questions that you might have. Remember, my office hours are every morning, 9 to 10 a.m., and I will be very responsive through email. Your task, remember, is to make sure you get those notes from this slide presentation and to do the little bit of practice that's there at the bottom. Okay? If you got any questions, please reach out. We are going to be practicing this passive voice stuff really from now until the end of the year. It's going to be one of our major things. We're going to talk about a little bit more history as well, but this is really the thing we want to get under our belts between then and now. Okay? So please reach out if you got any questions. And you guys, thank you so much. It's been nice to be able to talk to you. Again, I hope you're doing well.